What are you doing? He's gonna get me! Dude, Butters, you're seeing things!
Oh dear, I can already see the Carl/Butters fanfiction flowing in. Welcome, dear all, to Friendly Faces Everywhere. The 5th episode of the season, Safe Space, raises some valid commentary about the importance of facing reality and the proper approach to the problem of bullying. This theme brings me back to the season 16 episode, Butterballs, where Butters finally accepts the hardships his grandma gives him, with the optimistic view that karma will prevail someday, and he will be the one to come out on top in the end. What a pity Butters wasn't able to convince the people seeking his help to learn the same lesson. Although it may seem so to some, Safe Space is not a retread of Butterballs. There are a few key differences. For one, in the case of Cartman, Segal and all the other people using Butters' services, the majority of the negativity aimed towards them is largely their own fault. Putting everything out on the internet, or any public media in general, may attract a lot of criticism. At times it can be constructive, at others it may simply be trolling. It may be chosen to be accepted, tolerated, or ignored, and all of those options are fine as long as we acknowledge its existence. That is not to say that all of it is their own fault. I do believe if Trey and Matt sided with the quote-unquote haters, they would have made Kyle and Wendy be the ones to post the negative comments on Cartman's Twitter page. Except they don't. The episode does not in any way promote trolling. Trolls are just as much to blame. The focus is put on the hypersensitive shaming victims because trolling is an obviously negative phenomenon, and nobody needs to attract attention to it. South Park is simply, as always, making fun of overreactions. The overall message is be prepared to accept criticism if it's valid, and the structure of the story really supports the satire. With that said, I did find the episode kind of boring. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are a few good jokes here and there. Some of the ridiculous stuff Randy goes through in the Whole Foods checkout really sounds good in theory, and I do think Butters' story was done well. However, some of the scenes are bloody repetitive! Yeah, I don't know how many cashier scenes and Shameless America promos you can take in 20 minutes, but I've got my limits. This was the main problem in the city part of town, and it's really noticeable here. Again, they do change it up, and good for them, but can't we elaborate on Butters' story or something? It had so much potential. Speaking of Butters, Safe Space has the best use of his character I've seen in a while. Since a few seasons ago, more emphasis has been put on potential deconstruction of his core character traits, which was not always executed well. More often than not, Butters would lash out against his bully of the week until he became a bit too assertive, becoming simply a more naive Cartman. It's just nice to once again see him as a doormat for character divergence's sake. Does it come at the cost of character regression? I'm not sure. But this is essentially bound to happen in a long-running series, and I always say character development shouldn't be rushed, so I prefer this to, let's say, going native. Now, are there any more positives? I guess they also use Cartman to his advantage here. I like that his self-centered, delusional nature really makes him think people like him just because he can't see any negative comments. It kind of reminds me of the episode Fish Sticks. In addition, it's good that they tie the fact that he's a Yelper into it. It does help build stronger continuity. Same with Cartman's Twitter account being called @CartmanBro, a reference to his Let's Player persona. Also, it's nice that Wendy's being remembered, with her being the second person Cartman asks to filter his comments. With that said, I find this episode a missed opportunity because it could be a good time for Andy to finally start questioning PC culture. Later through the season, we're going to have some pacing problems, and it might be the fault of those few standalone episodes like this one, You're Not Yelping, and Tweet Craig. However good they might be, they disrupt the flow of the story, being the least related to the overarching theme. I'm going to elaborate on this in the future, as with the context of the final arc it might be a little more clear. Ultimately though, there are a few good things that outweigh the flaws of the episode, and while I may find it boring, it's certainly not forgettable. What? You think I'm wrong? You think I read too much into it and I can't really analyze comedy? You think Usopp isn't a well-constructed character?
Bullying isn't cool, bullying is lame, bullying is ugly and has a stupid name. For a healthy world, bullying's unfit, and I think I know what we should do to it, do to it. Let's all get together and make bullying kill itself. Bullying's an ugly thing, let's shove its face in the dirt and make set the mood, let's play.